Hello, this is Betty, and I'm using my laptop, so I don't know how good this video is going to be, but my camera took a 17-minute video, put it in slow motion, and made it 1 hour and 11 minutes, so I had to delete it because I didn't know how to fix it, and I don't know how I made it that way because I could be watching it and it was fine. And then the next time I looked at it, it was slowed down in slow motion. So we're going to try our laptop. We're going to try to adjust this a little bit. I've tried to do it before we started, but I seem like it's just not right. But hey, I'm old, and technology is, like I said in my first video, it just flew right over my head and left me. But one thing that hasn't left me, I love to talk. And I like to talk about my life. I like to talk about my travels. I love to talk about my family and how I got the love of travel from little adventures we did as children, which wasn't far from home. And I talked about that in my first video. And how family influenced a lot of the places we went then, because we had a big family on my mother's side, and my daddy's side was less but equally fun. So today, before I start, I'm going to read a little entry from my mother's diary from June the 12th, 1954, and then June the 12th, 1955. When I first got on Facebook, I didn't have anything to actually put on Facebook. I don't have any children or grandchildren. So I started just every day typing up what my mother had wrote in her diary, and it was a great big hit. So I'm just going to start with these two little short years, 54 and 55. If you like it, let me know in your comments, and I'll try to continue doing that as we go. May not do every day, but I can make some shorts with every day if anybody wants it. I just don't want to make a long video with it in it every day, because I want talking for that long every day to make a video that I can post like that is probably just out of my scope right now. But anyway, I'm going to take my glasses off because I can see better to read up close now, and I'm going to read it. 1954, June the 12th. Dear Diary, today Willie and Charles came to amuse us, took me up to Mama's. We dug some potatoes. So that was what she was doing this day in 1954. And I should have figured out how many years ago that was, but maybe it'll come in when I'm not thinking about it. Okay, in 1955, she wrote, Dear Diary, the girls and I went to church this morning, so that was a Sunday. Wanda and I went to Bethel with the Johnsons this evening. Got back, HD, wife, and baby. JH and wife was here, cool and clear. Now, the weather she's talking about is cool and clear. HD, wife and baby, is my oldest brother, and he was born in 1930. And his wife and his first daughter were born when I was, around 10 years old. So then the JH and wife was here. That's my second brother, and he was about 12 years older than me, I guess. And that his wife was Leah. Now today, after I made my first video, I got to thinking about some wonderful stories that I hope I can find more information on and get some of the family members to share. But my brother Howard was in the Korean War, and there were some good stories then, and he didn't talk about it for years, but he was a cook, and I'll create a video one day just on him and his family. And then my other brother, John, was never in the war, but he was shipped to France, and his wife took a large cruise ship over to France to be with him. And there's some fun stories there too, and the little Renault car that they brought back. I remember that because we were standing out in the yard when they drove up with this cute little black and red car. My brother Howard brought me some silk, and my two sisters, some silk pajamas, beautiful, from Japan when he went on R&R. So I still have those, and that very special treasure for me. Anyway, we're going to talk just a little bit about family reunions and what I can remember. I remember going to I call it Amacola Falls, and that's in North Georgia. And we'd have a huge family reunion with my mother's, it's actually my grandmother's mother and her family. And that would be, it seemed like hundreds of people there. Good food, and a lot of people I didn't know, but man, it was fun. And we'd try to climb up the side of the falls and do that. And I thought about that just a couple weekends ago when my niece and her husband took me and my sister, which is her mother, to Cherokee, North Carolina. And they told me, you can climb Mingo Falls. And I thought, well, can I? So I did. And I've posted several little short videos of that. So if you think you want to try a waterfall and you live somewhere in the area that's drivable to Cherokee, North Carolina, look at those little short videos and maybe you can get brave enough to go do it. At 80, I wasn't sure I could do it. And in 2024, I had 2 major surgeries. So I hadn't done anything like that since then. The most I'd ever done was go on a cruise and limit my walking, but at San Juan and took the old people's bus tour around the city, but I enjoyed that because I had seen old San Juan the previous cruise down there. So another little family reunion we had at Rock City near Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I don't know, there wasn't that many of us then. This was more aunts and uncles and some of us cousins. And my Uncle Leonard decided he would go to the ticket booth and get all of our tickets, keep us all having to line up and buy them. So he did. And he come back with our tickets and he told the lady, hey, we don't want to buy the place. We just want to look at it. Of course, that got a big laugh from us and all the people around us. But that's just the way he was. He was a little bit stingy sometimes, and he just let them know. he just wanted to look, not buy it. And so that was one little family reunion. Another time, a few of us went to Grants Park in Atlanta. And I don't remember a whole lot about that. I mean, this is in the 1950s. So, but that was fun. And that was way before the Zoo Atlanta was refurbished and rebuilt and made into a world-class zoo. But it was something different for us little kids that lived out in the country. We saw Willie B. and other caged animals, which was not fun to see. But at that time, you weren't as aware of the cruelty to animals if they were caged. It was just a different sight to see. Thank goodness we all became more aware of it, and so Atlanta eventually knew they had to do something, and they started a huge fundraising campaign and grew Zoo Atlanta into a marvelous place, and I've enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, I was one of the small financial contributors every month to help restore Zoo Atlanta and make it what it is today. So if you're in Atlanta, go to visit the zoo and give them your support. I would love to see the pandas. Well, maybe I did see the pandas when they was there. I can't remember, but it's a fun place to go for a visit. And what else did I want to talk about in this little video? Oh, well, uh, like I said, we didn't vacation, but our little trips were meaningful. But my daddy lost his job, and the plants in our town all went down, and all the men were losing their jobs. And some of them started hearing about jobs in Cleveland, Ohio. And so Daddy knew several men that went up there and found jobs, so he decided to go, and he got a job. And I forget the name of it, but I've got one of his pay stubs and his billfold from when he worked in Cleveland, Ohio. He found us an apartment in a big 3-story house, or I think it was 2 stories with a big attic. And we had a little 2-bedroom apartment on the back side, Roman, Italian, Catholics, so new experience for us. And Ronnie and Mario used to love to chase us little old girls around the yard and holler, rebel, rebel, rebel. And we'd holler, Yankee, Yankee, Yankee. But it was just good humor and good fun. They were about our age. And so that was a learning experience for us. And we walked to school, which was the Cleveland school. It was called, no, was it? It was the Kentucky school, but it was very close to our house. And we lived very close to Lake Erie. Now, remember when we had not been there, but it seemed like a day or two, and one of the men Daddy worked with took us down on Lake Erie to a park, and he said, there's a storm coming up. I need to get y'all back home. So he did, and it came a horrible tornado and killed 28 people, one on our street, took down all the beautiful big trees that my mother had loved because she had not really wanted to move to Ohio, but and she got there and she thought, well, those beautiful trees made her think of our home in Georgia. So all of those were torn down, and Mama took us walking, and I've got a picture made of my back and my daddy's back, and he's holding my hand, and we're walking through tree-strewn area, and I've got other pictures that shows the sides of a building just cut off like someone had taken a knife and sliced it off. So that was an experience, and we just had a lot of learning from being in Cleveland, Ohio. They tried to put me back in 2nd grade because I was going into 3rd, because I started school at 5, because in Georgia you could start at 5 years old if you were born before the end of the year. And my mother, I cried, and she went to school with me, and they gave me tests, and I passed all of them, so they let me stay in the 3rd grade. Thank goodness. So I graduated when I was 17 years old, and I couldn't go to work until I was 18. So there was, several months, 6 or 7, before I could actually go to work. And we had a grocery store, and I worked for my mom and daddy, but I wanted to work in the office. And you know why? Because there was a lady that lived in our neighborhood, and she shopped at our store, and she told us about her bonus one year. And that just set me off because, I mean, we had plenty, and we didn't do without after Daddy started his store, and we were okay. But I wanted to work in the office and get a bonus. Now, it took me several years to get the bonus, but I learned accounting, had been out of high school 12 years, and went to a local junior college and got an Associate of Science in Accounting. And I took that all the way to Atlanta when my ex-husband Well, it was my husband then, but we moved to Atlanta because he worked for Chevrolet and had to live in the zone office area. And I turned that into a really good job as the controller of a building material supplier company. And eventually I did get bonuses. And some years they were more than my salary. So you never know what's going to come. You just work towards it and live your life the best you can and be as good as to people as you can and enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the people you're with, and love your family because there's no one going to support you more than your family. And if they're not supporting you, I was tell you that to look for those mentors and those people in your life that will give you that support because they're out there. And it just becomes necessary sometimes to take a little break from your family if they're not supportive and support yourself and learn what works for you and how you can get ahead. And I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about ahead with your life, your living, your fun, and loving. There's not enough room in this world for the hate that we're seeing in some areas now. And I advocate for helping everyone and giving people a second chance. And it just matters to me that we try to live our lives with love. Now, if you've enjoyed this little video, I'd love for you to subscribe, like, but most of all, I want you to comment. I want you to comment about whether you like the little daily diaries, readings from my mother's diary in the 50s. And I would like to know if you would like to hear stories about uh, more of my life and my family's life. Maybe not the specific details, but the fun times and where and why they were at that stage in their life. And most of all, about me and my sister that I still cherish today. Matter of fact, she just called me a few minutes ago. And I told her how frustrated I was with my slow-mo phone video and that I was going to try to record this tomorrow, but hey, my hair looked pretty good. And time I sleep on it, I'll have a bed head. And so I thought I better get this done right now. So you're going to get it. And this might be a little grainy, but until I can afford a nice camera or a new phone, I'm going to make my videos. YouTube's just going to have to try to keep up with me. I don't think right now they know what to do with me. But hey, at 80, do I care? No. Do I want AI making my decisions for me? No. I want to talk and I want to live and I want to love and I want to share. And if you love it, come join me. And I'd love to hear your comments. Please comment. Thank you. Let's see if I can figure out how to turn this off now.